Hello and welcome to Third Act Film. Today we're looking back over the past 15, 16 years of great movies that have been released, and we compiled our own top 5 films each of the best films since the year 2000. Here with me is Todd James.
Hello.
And I'm James Forbes.
Hello, James Forbes.
Okay, so if we start off with number 5.
Okay.
What is your number 5 favourite film?
Confession time.
Uh-oh.
So, there are 2 creative forces that, in my mind, could have a list. This list could be comprised entirely of just their work. So instead of trying to pick the best of each, I have cheated in the worst way possible and done these 2 as my number 5 spot.
Okay.
One of them is Pixar.
Yeah.
If I had to pick a Pixar film, I would pick WALL-E, because WALL-E is my absolute favourite. But there are just so many in there that could easily be in a top 5. No? Like Toy Story, I guess.
No, you're totally right. You're totally right, but I haven't picked any animation.
Well, James.
Now I'm like regretting it.
What a huge disrespect of that side of the industry.
Yeah.
And just like Ratatouille, and I can't even think of the Incredibles and stuff. There are so many that could all be Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
Inside Out.
Yeah.
Oh, just like all of these.
Good Dinosaur.
Yeah. Good Dinosaur was fine.
Yeah.
And the other one is Christopher Nolan, who has, because in my head I was like, oh, so Inception. But then the more I think about it, the better Interstellar becomes. And then there's also the Dark Knight trilogy and Memento, which came out in 2000. I checked.
Okay.
And it's both of them I feel like could have 2 or 3 slots on this list on their own.
So your suggestion is a animated film made by Pixar, directed by Christopher Nolan.
Sure, yeah, that theoretical film that doesn't need. So I'm aware that I've cheated in the worst way possible.
You've chosen
about 26 films.
That's like 20 odd films.
Yeah, it's all my honourable mentions and WALL-E. There we go. That's it. I've done it.
Okay. I haven't cheated.
Well done.
I think the audience would like to know.
Congratulations.
That's right. Take this thing seriously. Totally. At my number 5.
Here we go.
A film that introduced me to a new genre of film.
Here it comes.
The Raid.
Interesting.
Introduced me to martial arts film. I kind of had a odd affair with it. I watched Crouch Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but I thought it was like, oh, it's so dull. I was a bit young.
I thought that too.
I thought it was really dull, and I'm like, oh, what are they talking? Just fight. Yeah. And then The Raid was like, yeah, okay, I heard you.
Who's talking? No one's talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because people have swords in their mouths and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it kind of introduced me to the, I don't know, like the kind of story leading up to The Raid outside of the film.
Mm-hmm.
A guy from the UK who wants to make a martial arts film,
mm-hmm.
can't afford to do it in the UK, so literally packs up his whole life, moves to Indonesia, and
he lucked out when he met the 2 main guys.
Yeah.
Like when he met because those 2, I think those 2 whose names I know.
Yeah.
Iko Uwais, I think is what, and then Mad Dog is the other one.
Yeah.
I think they do all the choreography as well.
Yeah.
So when he met those 2 guys, that was just
yeah,
that was good for all of them.
And although I personally like The Raid 2 more.
Me too.
Because, well, it helps in part that they had a bigger budget and he was able to actualise the original idea.
Raid 2 in the cinema as well, which always helps.
Yeah, I saw Raid 2 in the cinema as well.
I saw it with you.
Yeah, it was great. But The Raid, the fact that they did it on a small budget, the fact that they were allowed to do this kind of film, you know what I mean? Like hyper violence, entertaining throughout, and never a dull moment is spectacular.
Yeah.
All right.
I can't disagree. I love The Raid.
What's your number 4, please?
My number 4. This is a film that at the time I feel like it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And now no one really talks about it anymore.
Oh, right.
Partly because
Avatar.
No. Partly because the director has kind of gone down a path not a lot of people are a fan of. District 9.
Oh.
Right. District 9 is so good. It's like, people forget as well, it's like half documentary at the start.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes an awesome, and I feel like it's really realistic. I think it was nominated for an Oscar for Best Picture. You don't think so?
No.
Look it up.
I'm gonna
look it up and tell me I'm wrong here, which is probably exactly what's going to happen.
But carry on, yeah.
And it's quite realistic. It's made for adults for sure. There's like a lot of violence and swearing, and it's quite different. The setting at the time, even though Blomkamp keeps going back to the well, is like quite unique. And oh my god, am I right?
It was nominated for 4 Oscars. What those are?
Oh yeah, but Best Picture is the one that I'm sure it was.
Best Motion Picture of the Year.
Well, James, well.
Oh wow!
I told you. And then probably sound editing and visual effects.
Visual effects and film editing and adapted screenplay.
Well, there you go.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just a really, really great.
Yeah, it is. It is this. It's what put Neil Blomkamp on the map, and then Chappie took him off that map.
Yeah, he's gone now.
And I don't know. It's that kind of why do I love sci-fi? It's because it's a chance to tell stories that are present today, but present them as if it's a future problem.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's, you know, you've got aliens and you've got all this kind of weird stuff, but it's about you know, he was doing a film about refugees before the Syrian apartheid and refugees before, you know, how history is repeated again with the Syrian refugees at the moment. But excellent. Yeah.
The 2 best things about science fiction are awesome explosions and weapons. Check.
Yeah.
And then like social commentary and like having an amazing message wrapped up in this really cool outer shell. Check.
Yeah.
Okay.
My number 4.
4, yeah. Well done, counting.
Again, it's a sci-fi, it's a low budget. Donnie Darko.
Okay. Explain.
Explain, yeah. Now, it's one of those, I didn't see when it came out, I don't think anyone did.
Who knows when it even did come out?
And it's one of those films, you know, when your friends like, oh, you have to see this, it's so awesome, you have to.
And you're
oh
like,
my god,
I don't know, it looks
like,
a bit weird.
Oh, I've got a really long list of other films I have to watch, and you pull out any excuse that you could think of. Donnie Darko was on that list, that endless, bottomless list of films I had to watch, and I eventually did get to it, and I was taken aback. It's you kind of you get lost, you don't understand what's happening, then you do, and then you don't, and then you think you do know what's happening, and you don't, and you have to watch it again, and then you understand more of it, and you understand actually there's some real interesting ideas that have been presented, and it stays with you. You know, I must have seen this film over 5 years ago, and it stays with me. And
yeah, me too. I haven't watched it for ages, but I know
it's good.
I still think about it every now and then.
Yeah,
do you not like something will remind you of it, and then you're like,
yeah.
The best line in Donnie Darko, minor spoilers for Donnie Darko, I guess, is when him and Frank, yeah, I was going to say, they're sitting in the cinema together.
Okay.
And and Jake Gyllenhaal turns to him and he's like, why are you wearing that stupid rabbit mask? And then he turns back to Jake and says, why are you wearing that stupid human mask?
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa!
Yeah, that's a great scene. It's got a lot of great scenes.
Yeah.
And it's a film that you can take as much from it as you want. You know, some people might be like, oh, it was a weird film. Other people are like, oh, it's about the break of the mind. Other people are like, no, he's literally figured out time travel.
Yeah.
And
I got Seth Rogen's in it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Google it.
Yeah. No, I do remember that. All right. You're number 3.
Okay. Anyone who's been following Third Act for a while will know how much I love this film. The Theory of Everything.
Oh my god, you're not going to cry again.
I'm already welling up. Yeah. Just because I've spoken about it so many times on this channel, I'll keep it kind of brief. It's just perfect. It is the most emotionally devastating film I've ever seen. I couldn't justify leaving it off this list.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. It's just incredible filmmaking from the studio logos right to the end of the credits.
Yeah.
Everything about it is perfect. The acting is
Sublime,
completely stellar. The music is excellent. The directing, everything about it, the pacing, everything is perfect. Sometimes you can't pick a single thing that makes something good because it's all so good, and that's how I feel about The Theory of Everything.
It is a very strong film. I can't disagree.
It is.
Not on my list, but
I know. Probably not even in your top 50. But...
All right, moving on. My number 3 is another sci-fi. You'll see a trend here.
Yeah, me too.
And that's the film Looper.
Ooh, good shout.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for films that introduce a new concept, and then if you can also make a good film out of that, well done. Like,
right.
Because I give you an example. There was a film called 1+1, or called
Never
Plus
heard of
One, really low budget film, and it's a concept that everyone goes to a party, and at 12 o'clock...
I get it, +1.
Yeah, and at 12 o'clock, everyone at this party starts realising that there is their doubles there.
I know this actually. I've seen the trailer for
and
this.
That's why it's +1 for a party, and +1 because there is now duplicates of everyone, and you're able to directly interfere with your hour ago self.
Yes.
Great concept, terrible film.
Is it bad?
Yeah. Whilst Looper, however, is a great concept, a unique look at time travel. Before seeing Looper, you had the three main, which is I guess the Terminator definition of time travel.
Right.
Terminator 1, everything's predetermined. Nothing you can do to change the future. This guy comes back in time, impregnates you.
No matter what happens, it's going the same way.
It's going the same way. Second one, actually, maybe we can change it. Maybe free will does exist. And if we stop it now, it prevents it in the future. And then number 3 is like, things have to happen in a certain order, but when they happen, it doesn't matter.
Right.
So that was it. That was a staple for time travel. Every other time travel film is always that. Back to the Future delve into that as well. But then along comes Looper, and it's just it doesn't make sense, but time travel never does.
True. But as far as time travel films go, it's pretty
solid.
Yeah.
With our idea, that doesn't, because for those who don't know, with Looper, it's to do with the criminal organisations who are able to control time travel. So, for instance, if they want to torture you, they can have your arm chopped off in the past. So if you don't cooperate with them, they message their guys who are sat in the past to find you as a younger self and cut off your arm.
And then suddenly you're an arm down.
Yeah, and then in that exact present moment, your arm disappears, but you don't, and you have a flood of memories of your arm being cut off then. Yet, you still live the exact same life leading you up to this point, but ignoring that, yeah.
But at least time travel never 100% makes sense, but Looper does well to establish the rules and stick to them.
Yeah,
it all makes sense in its universe.
Yeah. And I've got a lot of respect for that, and it's a great idea, and it's a kind of I'm envious of it because I'm always stuck in logic, I suppose. I'm always stuck in that realm that I would never in a million years have been able to foot up of a plot similar to Looper. So, and for it to still deliver well. So that's why. All right, moving on. Your number 3.
You mean number 2?
Number 2, sorry. Yeah.
Okay, it's at that point. The Avengers. All right,
that's great.
It was going to happen eventually. I was going to say it. As me being me now.
Okay.
So me being I. There is no franchise or series that I care about more and get more excited by than the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
It's pretty swell.
And it's pretty swell.
Yeah.
And it is arguable which is the best one, but ultimately, when it comes down to it, for me, it has to be the first Avengers. The first time I watched the first Avengers, nothing can
top that.
Yeah.
Seeing all of these great characters all in one on one screen, and Iron Man, being Iron Man, Captain America being Captain America.
And like it's not as much of a good. I'm sure you can't see me because this is audio, but inverted commas, whatever that thing is, it's not as good as the Theory of Everything. It's not as well made as or as intelligent as District 9 or Looper, but my God, it's fun.
Yeah.
And it is everything I wanted to see and more.
Yeah.
And never have I had such high expectations and have had them so far surpassed.
Yeah, it was one of the most hyped films. Because people didn't expect it to happen in a million years. And
then it was better than anyone ever thought.
Yeah.
The Avengers. I love it. Bring on the next one.
Yeah, bring on the next one, which hopefully will be even bigger.
Yeah.
That's Infinity Wars, Interesting you picked Avengers. Because I also picked a comic book film.
I know exactly what you're going to go for.
The Dark Knight.
I knew you'd do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was contemplating the Avengers, and I was contemplating X-Men, because that was the year 2000, I believe. Yeah.
The first X-Men. I
X-Men,
think you're right. I think you're right.
And Blade came out in the 90s, though.
Right.
The first Blade, I believe. And I love comic book films, and I completely appreciate that. If there wasn't a Blade, then we wouldn't have got X-Men. If there wasn't X-Men, we wouldn't have got whatever. And we would never have, if there wasn't the original Batman films, we never would have got to the Dark Knight. And this keep on, this kind of passing on the torch. But I think the Dark Knight is the best comic book film. I think it's one that can never be toppled because it was so excellent, and it was the first time we're getting a director who fully understands his characters. And
I would argue that Joss Whedon better understands the Avengers, the comic book Avengers, but Christopher Nolan better understands the characters he created for the Dark Knight, perhaps.
Okay.
No? And I will... The thing about this is that the debate is always what's the best comic book film of all time, Avengers or Dark Knight.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense that me and you have picked that.
Yeah.
And also I will say the Dark Knight is a better, inverted commas, film than the Avengers.
Yeah.
Like, it's a better made film, probably. But I just prefer Avengers. I can watch Avengers every day.
Over again.
Yeah.
I prefer Dark Knight. I can watch that every day.
I cannot argue. It's like I can't say you're wrong with that. Yeah. That's the thing.
That's why it's my number 2. But moving on.
I'm so curious what your number 1 is.
All right. What's your number 1?
My number 1.
Okay. James.
I have once again sort of cheated, but in a way, this is all one film. Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Oh my god!
What?
That's you've put into your top 5
about 27 films. Yeah, I have.
Okay.
All right. If I have to pick one, I go for Return of the King. It's the best one.
I haven't seen any of the Lord of the Rings.
How do I not know this about you?
Okay.
I know. That's something we can cover another time.
Or any of the Harry Potters. All right, let's go.
That's not so bad.
Okay.
Right. It's just... I mean, what more can be said about Lord of the Rings? I'll talk about Return of the King specifically. 11-time Academy Award winner, joint most of all time.
Yeah.
It's just
almost created 2 new Oscar categories. There was like arguments for best ensemble and best motion capture because of that film. Although it never came to fruition, but
yet,
but yeah.
And it's just, I would argue that it is not only a film that I loved and thought was incredible, and watching it I couldn't believe what I was watching in the third one. I was just the right age as well, like when it came out. I would argue it is the best made film of all time, where every single element was perfect. Everything from acting, directing, like costume design, set design, visual effects for the time. Everything was spot on. I wouldn't change a thing about it, apart from I'd make it longer.
Wow.
Because I love it so much. When the extended one came out, and I was like, it's only 17 minutes longer. Where's my extra hour?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it'll happen one day when Peter Jackson has kind of... When his career is like teetering a bit, and he needs a hit, they'll do an extended, like the ultimate cut.
Yeah.
But yeah, and... They as a trilogy, but I guess specifically Return of the King is just too good. It's almost too good. Like, I feel like I don't deserve it.
Yeah.
It's that good.
Wow. I might have to watch it then.
Probably a good idea, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Your number 1 pick. Since you can't add anything to this conversation.
The little I know, Lord of the Rings destroyed the fantasy fantasy films because it was so good that no other film could compare.
Imagine normally something has to be really bad that no one wants to try it again.
Yeah, but in this, if you look at comic book films, like we've both mentioned Dark Knight and the Avengers, and they they only happened because comic book films were getting better. But
Yeah.
it wasn't that X-Men came out and they're like, well, no one else can do this now.
Yeah.
That's how good.
Imagine if the Avengers came out and they were like, well, I'm not going to try. You want to have a go?
Yeah. That something was so good that
Yeah.
no one else could compete. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. It's great. My number one pick.
Here it comes.
You probably know anyway. Come on. Let's be honest, alright?
As soon as you say it, I'll know, but I can't think right now. Okay.
My number one pick for best film. This is again sci-fi. This is again
Yeah.
a
you
small
think so?
budget.
Okay.
It was a director's debut film. He was a famous screenwriter that's done a lot of films prior to that, and has very small cast, and not 1 second was wasted in this film.
Oh my god. You got...
Ex Machina.
No way!
Yeah.
No way!
It didn't waste a second throughout the whole thing, and it was still a feature-length film.
You're thinking this is your best film since the year 2000?
In the year, yeah, since the year 2000.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Was it even your number one of last year?
Was it out last year?
It was 2015.
Oh, right.
Well, it was just in the Oscars for like a few weeks
So
ago.
my number one pick, I believe, for the year was Me, Earl and the Dying Girl,
Great.
which you may have seen is not on this list at all.
Right. Oh yeah, I did notice that.
Yeah, I loved Me, Earl and the Dying Girl. I cried a lot, but when I'm 70 years old, 80 years old, when I'm on my deathbed at 125,
I'm glad that you have such aspirations.
when I'm there and I'm like, why haven't they invented immortality yet? I'll look back and I'll be like, but I did get to see Ex Machina.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a somber note
To end on. But yeah, thanks for listening, guys. I suppose on that bombshell.
What are your top 5 films since the year 2000? Feel free to cheat a little bit, since 50% of the people in this video cheated.
Yeah,
Yeah, me, namely.
yeah, mainly. Let us know in the comments below. I've been James Forbes.
And I've been Todd James.
Bye.
Bye. Machines plugged in to believe that they are the machines who have the humans plugged in. Maybe this is why.
This is why, yeah.
Because they just turn into Natalie Portman.
What better way to motivate Nick Fury to do something than to tell him not to do something?